Did I really just watch an episode of Dragon Ball Super? Was this made by the same staff that's been working on Dragon Ball Super? What was this episode really? Because this episode of Dragon Ball Super, it reminded me of my childhood. It reminded me of some of the fights in Dragon Ball Z. And even some in GT. You could say what you will about the story, plot, and how it's non-canon of GT, fine. But you have to admit, some fights look pretty damn nice. And this episode, it reminded me of those fights of Dragon Ball Z. And when I'm reminded of Dragon Ball Z, and not reminded of Episode 6 of Dragon Ball Super, that's when we're on the right track with this series. And this episode, I didn't think would be this good. I really didn't expect it to be this good. And this fight is by far the best fight of Dragon Ball Super to date. This is the best fight we have seen. But also, I think the best animation we have seen, most likely, from Dragon Ball Super. And my personal favorite episode yet. Because we get to see a side of Vegeta we haven't seen in a very long time. And it was a side that I truly love seeing. I love seeing the facial expressions that Vegeta had, the way he carried himself in this episode. It was just an amazing episode that made me feel nostalgic. Now, I'm going to say, this episode, what really got to me, what made me just become amazed by how this is the staff that works on Dragon Ball Super made this episode. Like, I swear to you right now that they most likely had to bring in some other staff or something to work on this episode. There had to be like a different, director or something. Something has to be different with this episode, because this episode felt like the glory days of Dragon Ball Z. I'm saying that right now. This is a must-watch episode. Regardless if you watch Dragon Ball Super or not, if you've watched Dragon Ball Z and you're just, looking back and forth for Dragon Ball Super, I'm going to say right now, this is a must-watch episode. You've got to see it for yourself. It was a really awesome fight. And seeing how Vegeta and Cabba, hopefully I'm saying his name right, they go in, they start fighting. It's actually fist fighting. It's not ki blast spam, which there was some ki blast here and there, but they were actually fighting, martial arts going on, and you just see them beating the fucking shit out of each other. Well, it was kind of one side. It was mainly Vegeta showing some evil side to him, which he wasn't going completely evil. He was actually doing it as training, but still, it was a very awesome match that made me remember some glorious fights from Dragon Ball Z. And seeing how Vegeta, he's putting on this face, this smile, this evil smile, it reminded me of Vegeta in the Cell Saga. That's exactly what this reminded me of. Like, when you see that smile of Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans, he's smiling there, he's like, one thing that Saiyans have are their pride. Don't you dare say you're surrendering. I was like, yo, fucking Vegeta! Vegeta! Yes, the love Vegeta is getting in these recent episodes, it really hits me, because Vegeta's always been shafty. He hasn't had a really good episode in a long time, like some really good episodes, or real good focus. I mean, he got cheated with the Frieza saga, like the new Frieza saga we had, with the resurrection of Frieza. I didn't like how he was done, but now seeing Vegeta getting the spotlight, and he's, doing training with another Saiyan, that is just a side we have never seen before. I mean, this once again goes to show you a side of Vegeta that Vegeta most likely would have had if, Planet Vegeta wasn't blown up by Frieza. This might have been something that Vegeta might have done. A little bit crueler, but I feel like Vegeta would have done something very similar in a way. And it really opens your eyes up how Vegeta is actually a prince. Or now he's, I guess a king, since, his father's no longer around. He's the Prince of all Saiyans, or the King of all Saiyans, whatever the case may be, whatever title you want to add to Vegeta. It's very interesting seeing this side of Vegeta, of how he was training a fellow Saiyan in combat. And that made me appreciate this episode. It showed a side of Vegeta we haven't experienced, but also it showed a side that we are well aware of, especially when it came to the sneering, the smiling, the way he was acting all cruel. It was something we actually knew about Vegeta since the very beginning. And what really brought me back, what really brought me back in this episode was when we saw the Gallic Gun being used by Cabba, and also the stance. Like, I can't do the exact stance as Vegeta does. He does this, like, with his hand or whatever. But the stance that Vegeta used in the fight with Goku back in the past in the Saiyan Saga, we get to see that stance once again, but not by Vegeta, but by Cabba. And I'm like, yo, you gave us Final Flash last week, and now you give me this shit? Yo, that's badass. Which I have a theory I want to talk about when it comes to that, which I will get into. But I just want to first, just talk about the fight, how it was handled and stuff. So, Vegeta, he was cruel, and I mean, majority of us know that Vegeta has kind of had a change of heart. He has changed for the better. He has become more of a family man. He's opened his heart up. He's still a little bit cruel, but I mean, at the very least, he's a lot kinder than he used to be. And so I didn't truly believe Vegeta went, evil, like, everybody was assuming he probably was going or doing in this episode. But seeing how he was being like that towards a fellow Saiyan, it just opened my eyes. I'm like, damn, I miss this shit. I miss this. And seeing him open up to a Saiyan, how he was training him, teach him how to do a Super Saiyan, it was incredible. It was an incredible episode. This was an amazing episode of Dragon Ball Super. And when you see Vegeta just sitting there taunting Cabba, it's like, hey, if this is the end, I want to kill you right now. I'll kill your fucking planet. I'll blow up your planet. I'll kill your family. I'm like, yo, Vegeta. He was pushing him to the very limit to transform into a Super Saiyan. And that right there was insane. So yes, and when it came to the fighting, back and forth, just seeing that Saiyan transformation of how Cabba went in and starting to fight Vegeta, and Vegeta was dodging, like he was like barely dodging and shit. That was awesome. But what really got me though, out of all this other stuff I've already talked about, it was when Vegeta transformed into Super Saiyan God. This is the part I feel that really let this episode have a whole new meaning. Better meaning than I ever envisioned Vegeta to have. When Vegeta says what he says in this episode, I'm like, damn, he truly is the Prince of all Saiyans. He transforms into Super Saiyan God, or Super Saiyan Blue. The music is incredible. It's the soundtrack, I need that. I need that fucking soundtrack. Vegeta, that soundtrack, damn. So, as he transforms, he looks at Cabba and he's like, this is the highest form of Super Saiyan at this time, and you can eventually get here. And he's like, I want you to surpass me. Vegeta says that. I want you to surpass me. I'm not shitting you. Vegeta actually said that. And then he's like, I won't hold back, obviously. I want to, keep up and all that. But when Vegeta says those lines, he actually played the teacher role. Vegeta was a sensei. He was a teacher in this episode. Of all people, that is a teacher. That teaches someone and trains them. Vegeta. Vegeta. No shitting you, Vegeta. Okay. So, I think this is probably going to be one of the best episodes of Dragon Ball Super. I really doubt many things are going to beat this episode of Dragon Ball Super, because knowing Toei and their, track record, they'll probably go back to, how they normally do with Dragon Ball Super, what they did with, like, for instance, episode 6 of the series, or maybe they finally got their, head out of their ass, and they're, finally giving the legendary series Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super the respect it deserves, they're finally giving it that respect. Maybe, I don't know, this is Toei, we could see. But still, episode, regardless of anything else from the series, or Dragon Ball Super, or whatever is to come, this was a good fucking episode. Okay, so let's talk about my theory on Cabba. Once again, I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, but my theory on him is that he talks about the king. He talks about the king of the Saiyans from Universe 6. And when you see the pose, like the stance that Cabba used against Vegeta, and then the Gallic Gun and stuff, there's two things you can pull from this. For one, the military training that Saiyans receive are very similar to what Saiyans in Universe 7 has received. For instance, Vegeta and Goku. Or, Goku didn't really get to learn, actually, fighting stances from Saiyans. But Vegeta, he's a perfect example. So, I feel like either A, the military standard is very similar when it comes to the Saiyans. Or B, what if, just hear me out, what if Cabba in some shape or form is related to Vegeta in a parallel universe? For instance, in, Universe 6, what if the king that Cabba is talking about is actually Vegeta himself. Not King Vegeta, not, Vegeta's father, but I'm talking about Vegeta, our character Vegeta right now in this episode. What if the King of the Saiyans in this other universe is Vegeta? Just imagine that. And so, would that mean, what if Cabba was in fact maybe like the son or something, like another son or maybe a brother or something? I don't know, just I'm throwing it out there. What if, just what if, that we find out that maybe Cabba's related to Vegeta in some way? Maybe not in this universe, but in universe, 6. So yeah, I mean, the form, the stance, all that reminded me a lot of that. I'm very curious to see where that's going to go, because there was a lot of hints that this Saiyan here has a lot of connection to the King in the universe 6. And the King, as we can only assume, most likely be someone similar to Vegeta. So it's either, another Vegeta, or it's Vegeta's father, one or the other. And what would be even crazier is if, Cabba, in a way, is actually Vegeta. That'd be fucked up. That'd be crazy. It really would. But then this leads into the next point I want to talk about, though. Besides all these, theories and just throwing them out there and all that, take it with a grain of salt, let's talk about something else. Another thing we need to look at is Cabba's strength. He was able to keep up with base form Vegeta. Base form Vegeta. Vegeta's been through some heavy shit. Like, he's been through a lot of shit. Training at like 500 times normal gravity. He's done ridiculous stuff even since then. But Cabba is able to keep up with Vegeta's base form. Being able to keep up with Vegeta like that, that's insane. That's really insane, especially with the training with Whis. So it really gets to you like, holy shit, what type of shit has Cabba been through to be at this level? So it makes sense how he was able to achieve a Super Saiyan, because he's at a way higher level than Vegeta and Goku were when they first transformed. Way higher than them. So it's very obvious to see how he was able to transform. Just the main question I have now is, what has he been through? Or is Saiyans, their start off in, Universe 6, are they stronger than the Saiyans we know in Universe 7? That's another possibility. Because there's a lot of mysteries and questions we don't know about when it comes to this other universe. So, yeah, episode on fire. Loved it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.